Well, Israel has wrapped up its defense against accusations of genocide on a second day of hearings at the International Court of Justice in The Hague. The defense team strongly rejected the case brought by South Africa. It told the court that Israel was not seeking to destroy the Palestinians, but to protect its own people in its war against Hamas, which many countries classify as a terrorist organization. Tal Becker is a legal advisor for Israel's foreign ministry, and in court, he attacked South Africa's handling of the case.
The entirety of its case hinges on a deliberately curated, decontextualized, and manipulative description of the reality of current hostilities. South Africa purports to come to this court in the lofty position of a guardian of the interest of humanity. But in delegitimizing Israel's 75-year existence in its opening presentation yesterday, that broad commitment to humanity rang hollow. It is unsurprising, therefore, that in the applicant's telling, both Hamas's responsibility for the situation in Gaza and the very humanity of its Israeli victims are removed from view. The attempt to weaponize the term genocide against Israel in the present context does more than tell the court a grossly distorted story. And it does more than empty the word of its unique force and special meaning.
DW's correspondent Lucia Schulten is at the ICJ in The Hague. She's got more about Israel's defense against the allegations of genocide brought by South Africa.
2 days of hearings have ended here today in The Hague. On the second day of the hearings, Israel got a chance to make its case and defend itself against the allegations made by South Africa. South Africa is saying that Israel breached the Genocide Convention by acts and omissions that are genocidal in character. Israel strongly rejects this and says that South Africa is distorting the facts. Israel wants to see the whole case rejected and also does not want to see provisional measures being put on it. South Africa has asked for these provisional measures, and among them are, for example, the quest that the court orders Israel to end all military operations. In the next step, the court will have to decide whether it brings forward any kind of provisional measures or not. This is expected to be relatively quickly. The main case, the question whether Israel has indeed breached the Genocide Convention or not, this is expected to take years.
DW special correspondent Aya Ibrahim joins me now from Jerusalem. Aya, yesterday we were reporting on South Africa's arguments in bringing these charges of genocide against Israel at the ICJ. And today was Israel's turn to defend itself. How did it present its case?
Well, this was an almost 3-hour hearing, and so it's difficult to really summarize all of the arguments, but a couple certainly stood out to me. There's the fact that Israel claims that South Africa's entire case is not factual, that it takes statements out of context. Israel's counter-argument also hinges heavily on the accusation that Hamas is actually to blame for all of the atrocities that South Africa accuses Israel of committing because Hamas embeds itself among the civilian population, essentially saying, well, yes, conflict means civilian casualties, but really it's Hamas's fault because Hamas's strategy is designed to maximize civilian casualties. That's the Israeli claim. The Israeli team also says that while civilian casualties certainly are, a tragic fact of conflict, genocide, the Genocide Convention is not the correct framework to address what is happening in Gaza, but more the laws of armed conflict. But I think what perhaps the strongest challenge to South Africa's case that was presented today was the question of intent, genocidal intent. Yesterday, South Africa laid out its case with a lot of quotes from Israeli officials that have, in one way or another, said that this war is meant to, or that the goal is to destroy or, remove the Palestinian population in Gaza. The Israeli team today says, well, these officials are not part of Israel's war cabinet. They're not their statements essentially that their statements do not comprise official Israeli policies, and then they quoted other Israeli officials who then said that there is no intention to destroy the Palestinian population and that there's no intention to forcibly remove them from the Strip. So they're saying, yes, these were Israeli officials, but that they're not the Israeli officials whose opinion really matters. And so they're trying to challenge the claim of intent with these counter quotes, among others, from the Prime Minister himself.
Well, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed there. That is our special correspondent, Aya Ibrahim, in Jerusalem.